Do, re, re, re,
Even the ball couldn't handle Alex's scream that it left the screen for a second there. As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and subscribe to my YouTube channel at It's Lielers. And also do not forget to follow me on TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. Also, don't forget to check out last week's blog video. And I'm like, why in the hell? And this is just YouTube specifically. The video that I posted promoting the blog video had more views than the actual blog video. And like, I was commenting on some of the comments that I got on that video, where one in particular was like, oh yeah, I got to see him this past Thursday. Like, I think it was Slaughter or Marilyn Manson. And I was like, I was there this past Thursday, like, go check out the blog video. But yeah, and I was just like, if only like the amount of people that actually saw the video would actually see the blog video, that'd be great. Also, I'm actually thinking about just posting the performances itself that I recorded. And it's not just the ones that I have on the blog video. There's more other songs that other bands perform. Like, for example, I have Prosthetics, by Slipknot, where they perform and I recorded that whole song. I mean, there's parts where I'm singing, but at the same time, I'm like, It was that. And then I remember, too, I wanted to insert Marilyn Manson's Angel with the Scab Wings, because that's one of the songs I listened to back in the days. And yeah, I would say it's one of my favorite songs of him. And I wanted to include it in the blog video, but again, it was too fucking long, where I was just like, you know what? Yeah, no, we're not going to add it in there. But again, I have that video. And then scissors, like I mentioned in the blog video, that I had to crop scissors. I see what I did there. But I had to crop it because, yeah, the whole performance was so fucking long that, again, I just didn't want to make that blog video long. So I'm debating on it. But even more reasons why y'all need to subscribe to that YouTube channel, because y'all might get to see those performances. So yeah, I'm debating, but if you see the videos, then that's what y'all get for subscribing. But anywho, this week we got trailers, we got Thunderbolts, we got Ballerina, but we also got The Last of Us. And then we have tour announcements still going on. Along with that, new music from your potential favorite artist. That's only in the metal category, because I don't listen to, country, hip hop, all of that. I mean, I do listen to it, but am I going to talk about it on the podcast? No. So there's that. And the other thing, oh my God, we're going to leave this at the very end of this episode, but I watched the Mr. McMahon DocuSeries on Netflix, and holy shit, I have a lot of thoughts. So yeah, I'm going to leave that at the very end of this episode. And yeah, obviously, because it's on the wrestling category. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this episode started. And we're kicking off the episode with some sad news, and I feel bad for my Harry Potter fans. I never got into it. I will admit that. I tried. It didn't happen. But when I heard the news, I'm like, I know there's a lot of people that watch Harry Potter. In case you guys didn't know, unfortunately, Dame Maggie Smith passed away at the age of 89. She famously played the role of Professor McGonagall. Again, I never watched, I watched the movies, but I don't remember the pronunciation for her name. But yeah, her sons, Toby Stevens and Chris Larkin, said in a statement that says, quote, "She passed away peacefully in a hospital early this morning, Friday, the 27th of September. An intensely private person, she was with friends and family at the end. She leaves 2 sons and 5 loving grandchildren who are devastated by the loss of their extraordinary mother and grandmother. We would like to take this opportunity and thank the wonderful staff at the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital for their care and unstinting kindness during her final days. We thank you all for your kind messages and support, and we ask that you respect our privacy at this time. I did see a video on TikTok where people that were at Universal Studios paid tribute to Maggie Smith, and they raised their wands over there at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Even more reasons of why Harry Potter fans should just do another marathon and rewatch all the movies. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, it's kind of ridiculous, but Jumex, if you guys do not know the Hispanic famous drink that most of us drink, is now joining the alcohol business. Yeah, you heard it right. So basically, they're going to release this new brand called Jumex Hard Nectar, and it will be releasing maybe 4 flavors of their drinks. They said in a quote, "Experience Jumex's new bold fusion of natural Mexican fruit flavors with a boozy twist of alcohol. Some of these flavors include strawberry, mango, guava, and pineapple coconut." No lie though, I kind of want to try the mango for sure. I saw videos all over TikTok and everybody's like, you will definitely see me drink some of these because these are our childhood drinks if you ask us. I don't know when it hits the shelves, or maybe they have hit the shelves, but people again are buying them like crazy. So if you see them, go ahead and try one, like I will, hopefully. Now, let's go ahead and kick off the movies category, starting with Marvel's Thunderbolts. Yeah, we got the teaser trailer, and I'm not shitting you. We got Yelena, we got Bucky, we got the Red Guardian, we have U.S. Agent, we got Ghost, and did I happen to see Taskmaster over there too? But it looks like they're all gaining up to take down Valentina, or, you know, vice versa. She's trying to take down the Thunderbolts. It's just basically another action-packed movie, or I wouldn't say superhero movie. It would have to be like a villain kind of story, because we've seen all of these people in previous Marvel projects where they're playing the role of the bad guys. So I don't know, it still looks interesting. Definitely go check out the trailer, and this movie is set to release on May of this coming year. The next trailer I want to talk about is the Ballerina. So if you guys do not remember me talking about it, it's basically a spin-off movie that is set in the world of John Wick. The first thing I wanted to talk about is Lance freaking Reddick. It is so good to see you on the screen once again. R.I.P. legend. The other thing that kind of threw me off is Norman Reed. It's like, what are you doing here? This ain't no Walking Dead. See what I did there? But yeah, he's in there. Now I'm more invested to go watch this movie. Looks like this whole movie is going to be about introducing us to the character Ballerina and how she became an Assassin Creed. Of course, Ana de Armas is going to be the one playing Eve, but again, everybody knows her as the Ballerina. Is that what I'm assuming? And as mentioned before, John Wick, Keanu Reeves himself, will be making an appearance in this movie. It is also going to be set to release in June 2025. Definitely go check out the trailer. But yeah, it is giving typical John Wick vibes, but it is nice to see that at least he makes the appearance, you know? So yeah. Anywho, before we wrap this category up, I didn't have that much to talk about the movies. It was just the 2 trailers. I found this infographic from Culture Crave that basically lets you know what are the highest grossing film franchise. And I have a lot of thoughts about it. I mean, it's called the Thoughts of Lielers for a reason. You may be wondering, oh, I think we already know which franchise is probably at the #1 spot. But I got 18 franchises in here, and they're already starting at the billions mark. I'm like, what the hell? Sitting at the number 18 spot happens to be the Twilight Saga with $3.36 billion. I'm like, sweet Jesus. But hey, congrats. At the number 17 spot happens to be Shrek at $4.02 billion. I'm like, damn, okay. And then there's the other possible Shrek 5 movie that's coming up that might bump it a little bit up. On the number 16 spot, I was surprised that this franchise even made it on this list, is Mission Impossible at $4.14 billion. Pirates of the Caribbean is at number 15 with $4.52 billion. Avatar! Why is Avatar at number 14? That makes no freaking sense. But they're at $5.24 billion. Is it because it's only 2 movies? Maybe that's why. I think it's because it's just 2 movies. Anywho, the next one is Transformers at $5.33 billion. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Despicable Me is at the number 12 spot at $5.6 billion. Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth. That's what it says. Like, I don't know if it's just Lord of the Rings itself. I don't know. But that is at the number 11 spot at $5.96 billion. Jurassic Park is now kicking off the number 10 spot at $6.1 billion. Batman is over here at the number 9 spot at $6.84 billion. And I'm over here like, does that include even Matt Reeves' Batman? You know, the one with Robert Pattinson? I don't know. See, and this is where it gets complicated because Batman was at number 9. And then at number 8, it says the DC Extended Universe. And that happens to be $7.19 billion. So, yeah, I don't know. Do what you will with that information. Anywho, number 7. The Fast and the Furious franchise at $7.33 billion. What the hell? But then again, yeah, they have made 10 movies leading up to the 11th movie. Which, by the way, I'm surprised it's been that long since they haven't announced a new movie. So maybe next year, we'll see. Anywho, number 6 is for X-Men at $7.4 billion. And then number 5, already the top 5 most highest grossing film franchise. Number 5 is 007 at $7.84 billion. Number 4, we were just talking about it, Wizarding World, and that includes Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and anything else that has to do with Wizarding World. And that is standing at $9.66 billion. Sweet Jesus. Number 3. Okay, number 3 is gonna shock you. And it's Star Wars. Why Star Wars? Because Star Wars is at $10.34 billion. That's a lot of money. But here's where it gets odd, because number 2 is only for Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man is at $10.61 billion. I'm assuming probably the animated series. I'm assuming the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, like all of those movies combined, I'm assuming. And again, that's just Spider-Man. That does not include everything else with what's been happening at the number 1 spot. Why? Because the number 1 spot happens to be the MCU. Yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're standing at a whopping $31.15 billion. And that's why I'm like, okay, does that maybe include Tom Holland? But I don't want to say no, because at the same time, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is part of the Spider-Verse, which is in Sony. So, yeah. We already knew the MCU is probably the highest grossing film franchise, but I was not expecting to be $31 billion. Like, sweet Jesus. Talk about end world poverty with that money. But hey, you know, that's the society we live in. Alright, and that basically wraps up the movies category. Let's go ahead and talk about TV. We finally got the Last of Us Season 2 trailer. I cried knowing what's going to happen afterwards. So the trailer starts peacefully. You know, everybody has settled into their new home in Wyoming. But then the trailer turns into chaos. Of course, I mean, we also see the iconic moment where Ellie's over there playing the guitar to Dina. And then we do see a mourning Abby that looks like she's filled with rage. And I think we're also going to see Abby's side of the story. Like, they're going to take a break from Joel and Ellie. And then we probably see the struggles of Abby. And then probably leading up to the events of where Abby, you know, meets up with so-and-so. And I'm just going to leave it like that because I don't want to ruin the plot for the story for y'all. The trailer does end with giving us a 2025 release, but no month or day has been confirmed, so it might not be in January like we thought. This is where I have some hope, because I keep complaining about, oh my god, you know, it wasn't going to be this season where we're going to see what we're probably going to see in the game, this and that. So Neil Druckmann says that fans should expect the story changing on season 2 just like they did on season 1 when they told the story of Bill and Frank, something that was different compared to the game. So I'm like, please give me some hope, because I'm not ready to lose my shit. And then plus, you know, I'm pretty sure you're trying to lead up to season 3, so I don't know. I have some hope once I heard that news, so definitely go check out the trailer if you can. The other thing I also wanted to talk about is that there's talks that Kyle Chandler, if you guys do not know, he was actually in Godzilla King of Monsters, but he was also in other movies too and TV series. But he might be playing the role of Hal Jordan in the upcoming Green Lantern series. I mean, if you think about it, he does look like the part, but other fans will think that he will make Hal older looking, I guess. The series is planned to have 8 episodes and will be streaming on Max soon. I'm assuming probably in 2 years. Now let's go ahead and move it along. Last week we spoke about Chucky collaborating with Magic the Gathering, and this week we find out that the Chucky series gets canceled after 3 seasons. I need to get caught up to see how it ends, basically, because there's not going to be a season 4. Like, I made it to the first half of season 3 and was waiting for the other half to come out. This is why the season should not be split, because people are gonna forget about the shows existing. Surprisingly though, a lot of people in the comments from Deadline's post actually said that they do want season 4 to happen and praised the show for saving the franchise. I mean, definitely go check it out. That way, you know, you see that the final episode of season 3 is basically gonna wrap up that whole series. Now, the other thing I also wanted to talk about is that the first episode of Agatha All Along hit 9.3 million views on Disney Plus on its first 7 days of streaming. Looks like Marvel finally did something good. Honestly though, I did watch the first episode and a half. I still haven't finished the second episode. And yeah, it's good so far. I do want to say that I need to keep watching, and maybe once the whole series ends, we'll probably throw some thoughts on there. So stay tuned on that one. The last thing I have for you guys in the TV category is another infographic thanks to Culture Grave. It's basically explaining what's next for the future of the series Shogun. Now that this first season basically kicked off with a bang, hell, it won an Emmy and everything. We're learning that season 2 and season 3 are green lit, and Hiroyuki Sanada is set to return. So it's said that season 2 is set to begin filming in 2025 and will have a darker chapter compared to season 1. Co-creators Rachel Kondu and Justin Marks are currently writing the plot for season 2, and they're looking to film parts of the show in Japan. It is also said that the content will be largely original, as they adapted the majority of the book for season 1. So yeah, it is based off of the book, in case you didn't know. And they're working closely with the writer James Clavell's estate to develop the next 2 seasons. As I mentioned before, once I finish watching Narcos, then eventually I'll go watch Shogun to see what the hype is all about. And then eventually we'll probably talk about it. And then if season 2 does get announced, we're definitely going to be talking about that too. And that wraps up what I have for you guys in the TVs category. Let's talk about music. So last week, I know we talked about Metallica coming to Houston, and I am happy to announce that I will be there. Yes, even though I haven't financially recovered from last week. I can't believe it's been a week. But I was like, fuck it, let's go ahead and go. Because I mean, I don't know when will be the next time Metallica will be back in Houston. And it's going to be at the NRG Stadium. So I'm like, sweet Jesus. I don't care if they're not gonna have like a 2-night event, whatever. Like, I have to see them. And yeah, those tickets are hella expensive, especially like when you're trying to go to the lower section. Like, I saw official platinum tickets were like at $600. Well, it was like 500 and change. So like the closer lower you get, the more expensive they are. Like, there is this one, and this is NRG, by the way. Section 118, row 8, seat 9 is at $896 plus fees. The cheapest one that I found so far was $58. Oh my god, and that's at the very top. Here's the thing. I've been at NRG Stadium before, and yeah, it's a hella big venue. For a concert, oh my gosh. The thing is that when you go at the very top, you can barely see anything. So me, again, I'm only going to tell you guys this one thing. There are VIP packages. One of them is called the Seek and Destroy VIP Reserve Package. There's another one, but it's not for this venue. I think it's for different venues. So the Seek and Destroy Reserve Package comes with, obviously, a reserve seat in the lower bowl, and it also comes with one limited edition Metallica and Yeti drinkware, plus on-site benefits including an enhanced experience check-in, dedicated road crew, and a priority lane into the venue where available, yada yada yada. When I saw that they're giving out a drinkware with Metallica and Yeti collaborating, and by the way, you can only get this with that reserve ticket, I was like, I guess. So yeah, I got a good ass view. And where I was sitting at, I'm not letting y'all know because I don't want y'all to find me. Then again, it is a big ass venue. You might not find me. But where I'm sitting at, I was like, oh yeah, center stage. Hands down, I got a good ass ticket. So if you guys were to see how much I paid, I'm sorry, but yeah, that's how much I paid. And again, I'm like drowning into debt thanks to fucking Metallica, thanks to Slipknot, thanks to Slaughter to Prevail. But hey, it was worth it. And plus, I'm pretty sure Vinny and Dimebag made it happen because they were like, oh, you're gonna see the other band, go for it, here's our blessing. I don't know, that's just me rambling. But yeah, the tickets are now on sale. In Houston, there's a bunch of tickets available. Again, they are kind of hella expensive, but you can always go for the cheap seats at $58 plus fees if you want to just see them through the screens that they have. So I'm excited, but I have to wait until June 14th. That's when they're gonna be here. And it's on a Saturday, so I'm like, hey, even better. And speaking of tours, now, I just got back from Dallas a week ago. It's been a week. Oh my God. Why am I still talking about Dallas? Well, I found out that freaking Linkin Park added additional stops from their From Zero World Tour. And guess who's going to join? It's different though. So on November 3rd, they will be heading to Paris with Sleep Token. I'm like, okay, well that's Paris. Well then 5 days later, they will be going to Dallas with Bad Omens, Gene Dawson, and Helmet. I'm like, what are y'all trying to do over here? I don't know. They're gonna be at the Global Life Field, which is like a really small stadium compared to like the AT&T Stadium, and they're like right next to each other. It's like closer to where Vinny and Dimebag's grave, funeral home, whatever is at. It's like literally nearby. So I'm like, oh hey, I passed by it. So like once I found out where the venue was, I'm like, huh, funny. But still, I'm like, I know I've been talking shit about Linkin Park, but then I'm like, Bad Omens. Hear me out though. I'm like, if Bad Omens and Sleep Token were the ones like going on tour, I know people will lose their shit. At the same time, I feel like that will also feed families for centuries. I know somebody in my hometown, I don't know if he's listening, I know he will pay good ass money just to see Bad Omens and Sleep Token, just that. But it's Linkin Park, so I'm like, I guess. But they're trying to do something. Anywho, that's Dallas. And then on November 15th, Linkin Park will be at Sao Paulo, Brazil. But it doesn't say who the opener is going to be. And I was just like, huh. So yeah, Paris, they're going to have Sleep Token. Dallas, we're going to have Bad Omens and Gene Dawson and Helmet. But yeah, Sao Paulo, Brazil is just Linkin Park. Like, part of me kind of wants to go back, but at the same time, I'm like, no, I don't want to be a hypocrite. Because again, yes, I've been talking shit about Linkin Park, and at the same time, I'm like, yeah, after Metallica, I'm like, I can't do another concert until I financially recover from everything else. So we'll let that go. I'm pretty sure with Bad Omens, they're gonna come on tour eventually. Why do I say this? Is because they continue to send cryptic messages. And we mentioned it last week that they're probably cooking an album. And this time I see a video on social media where you see like a wheelchair in a kitchen, And then next thing you know, you see a hospital bed and then someone saying, "Goodbye, friend." So I'm like, they're trying to cook a new album. And if Bad Omens cooks a new album, then they will potentially go on tour. So let's go ahead and wait on that instead. But anywho, let's go ahead and move it along. So Falling in Reverse announced that they will be heading to Mexico. And I'm like, what? Yeah, another festival is heading that way, and it's called We Missed Ourselves Fest. And it looks like Falling in Reverse will be headlining, but alongside with that, they will be joined with Killswitch Engage, Thursday, Escape the Fate. Yeah, that's gonna be something interesting. But anywho, Hawthorne Heights is also gonna be there, Fit for a King, Bless the Fall, and more people. So this festival is actually going to be this weekend on October 5th. I can't believe it. October is here. But yeah, they're going to be at the Velódromo Olímpico in Ciudad de Mexico. So if you guys are interested, I did find out I do have Mexican listeners. So hola a todos. But if you are interested, si están interesados en ir al festival, if you're interested in going to the festival, tickets are now on sale. Boletos están en venta. Now, let me get my bilingual ass to move along, and we're gonna talk about Kat Von D really quick. Yeah. So she announced a new tour called My Side of the Mountain, and I'm barely finding out that she released an album with the same name. When I saw the dates, I was like, oh my gosh, she's heading to Houston on November 5th, which happens to be election day. And I'm like, sorry, Kat, I gotta go vote. But at the same time, I saw the venue and it's literally not far from where I work. And I was like, I could literally just get off from work and go see her live. But at the same time, I'm like, her music is just not it for me. But I know some of y'all know who Kat Von D is and probably still follow, the things that she does, whether if it's good or bad. I mean, that's y'all. But I'm like, hey, she announced the tour. Let's go ahead and talk about it. But yeah, she does have not only Houston, she's also stopping in Dallas the night before. But it's a small venue, so I mean, yeah, go meet an icon who was famous for tattooing and all of that, but now she's doing a musical career, so there's that. Do go listen to her new album. I tried again, and it's just not it for me. I like heavy metal, not like, I don't know how to describe her music. So yeah, go listen to her if you guys are fans of her. And since we're already talking about album announcement, let's talk about other things. Poppy is releasing her album called Negative Spaces, which will be releasing on November 15th. So if you guys are interested, set your calendars. The other one is Marilyn Manson announcing his, quote, comeback album. And it's called One Assassination Under God, Chapter 1. And I'm like, oh, great. How many chapters are there going to be? Well, this album is set to release on November 22nd. And the art piece looks like it's something he probably drew. Who knows? But anywho, the other thing I also wanted to talk about is that Evanescence lead singer, Amy Lee, said that the band will be entering in the studio in November to work on the new album. She said, quote, "We're in the creative process right now, but we're not deep in the throes of it yet. We've been doing a lot of creating and we just have tons of ideas. So we're gonna get serious and get in the studio in November for the first round. Round 1. I'm like, oh God. And same thing. How many rounds are there? But yeah, stay tuned if the album does come out. I know their music changed so much throughout the years. So again, maybe like Kat Von D. I don't know if it's going to be it for me, but we'll talk about it eventually. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned Maneskin's Damiano David teasing a project, and it's finally here. So let's talk. So he released a single called Silver Lines, and it gives a piano, dark, heartbroken kind of tone, different from Maneskin's music style. So I'm like, okay, is this him just saying, you know what? Let me do my own music and make it different than Maneskin, but still be a part of Maneskin? I don't know. Hopefully the band doesn't break up because they were doing so good. So I'm like, why the separation? Definitely go listen to it if you can. I liked it, but again, it might not be for everybody. Now, I have some bands that have been entering my radar, and one of them happens to be Kubla Khan, Texas. Yeah. So they released a new album called The Exhibition of Prowess. I think I'm pronouncing it right. And this album does include Theory of Mind. And I don't know, but for some reason, that song has been stuck in my head for so long. And I think TikTok finally picked it up because I think they can hear when I'm talking about certain stuff. And the reason why I say this is because TikTok all of a sudden started showing me videos of Kubla Khan, Texas on tour. So keep in mind, they're on tour with Lorna Shore and Whitechapel. And one of the videos I got to see was, the band performing at the Greensboro Coliseum complex in Greensboro, North Carolina. And this was last week. And on that video, while they're performing Theory of Mind, the camera just pans to the crowd and all you see is everybody just pushing somebody in a wheelchair, kind of like crowd surfing mode. And I'm like, this is probably the most metal thing I have ever seen and I love it. But yeah, I'm like, now I'm getting more videos of the band and yeah, I started listening to them. But definitely go listen to Theory of Mind. I don't know why, but again, the whole time I was just like, monkey say, monkey do, dun 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 dun. Like that was all I kept saying. And then the other verse, and then I think TikTok's like, oh, she listens to them, let's go ahead and show them videos. So yeah, definitely go check them out. I like it, and they're close to Dallas. That's where they're from. So I was like, huh, interesting. But yeah, they're on my radar. Alongside with them, Parkway Drive also entered on my radar, and I was like, what in the hell have I been missing out? These are the bands that I really need to start listening to. Why? So I got to see a video, same thing, TikTok, where I guess the lead singer was standing on a platform and he's about to sing the part where they're doing a solo, you're headbanging, you're in the moment. And once he's about to hit that tone, all of a sudden, he screams, and the platform, along with the stage, the platform is up, by the way, above the crowd. But that and the stage just goes into flames. And I'm over here what? Just when you thought, oh my god, this is giving me Rammstein vibes, it can't get better than this. Next thing you know, the camera is over there panning to the drummer. And the drummer's over there, hitting them tones and whatnot while it's spinning. Like Joey Jordison spinning. And I'm like, what in the Rammstein and Slipknot is this? Now I'm like, okay, I gotta see Parkway Drive live. It is added to my bucket list. That and, Kubla Khan, of course. But still, I'm like, oh my god. Now I'm listening to Parkway Drive because of that. And yes, I want to see that live because, wow. I think fireworks, all of that should be in so many concerts. I'm hoping to see that in Metallica. I didn't see that with Slipknot now that I think about it last week. And they have done they've done fireworks, all of that. Unless maybe they were still living in 1999. I don't know if there was pyro back in the days. I don't know. But hey, they didn't do it. Maybe that's why I wasn't feeling it as much compared to when I saw them back in 2021. I don't know. But yeah, definitely go listen to Parkway Drive, guys. So there's that. And now we gotta talk about other things since I'm still rambling about last week. Fuck it, let's talk about Five Finger Death Punch. So, Louder Than Life is currently happening this weekend, except for Friday because it got canceled due to Hurricane Helen, which, yeah, it was shitty. And so, basically on Thursday, Five Finger Death Punch was performing, and Ivan Moody, the lead singer, suffered a broken rib after a slip and fall accident because it was raining, which made the whole stage just very hazardous if you ask me. But he explains in one video that after, Five Finger Death Punch performed, even though he fell, he still continued the show because, he loves performing. But then afterwards, once the adrenaline wore off, the next video we see is him in a hospital bed. And the reason why is because he saw the bruises getting worse and worse to the point where his skin was so swollen he can barely move. So once he was there, he had to get a CT scan performed to see what the whole deal was. and he got the confirmation that he fractured his ribs, meaning that he's gonna have to go through surgery. Somebody did say in the comment section of the video that, you know, hey, fuck it, just perform on a wheelchair. And I'm like, well, yeah, Sid Wilson did that back in 08, 09, you know. And so I'm like, I guess he can do that. But anywho, let's go ahead and move it along. So you guys already know that I take breaks whenever I record the podcast. And the first thing I do is go on my Instagram. And I always get, like, the first thing I see is either, you know, Sorry Prevail or Slipknot. And when I got to see Slipknot, they actually posted on their stories that Corey, Taylor, and Clown are gonna be on the next episode of Hot Ones. Yeah, that Hot Ones where, you know, you're interviewing each other while also eating spicy wings. I'm like, oh my god, finally. So I can't wait to watch this one. It's gonna be releasing, I want to say, on YouTube on October 1st. So yeah, we're probably gonna be talking about it next week. So I can't wait. A lot of people, obviously, you know, talking shit on the comments were saying like, hey, they're gonna ask like, oh, what would you do if I fire you? And then like, instead of responding, they're eating a wing. I don't know, but I'm like, man, these people. But yeah, I can't wait to watch it. And since we're already on the topic of Slipknot, I found out through Blabbermouth that they released the news that Joey Jordison's estate has settled their lawsuit against Slipknot. So the suit was filed in June of 2023 with Joey's estate alleging that Corey Taylor and Clown and other associated companies, quote, failed to return musical instruments, gears, and wardrobe, unquote, that were belonging to Joey. And, you know, this all happened whenever Slipknot kicked out Joey in 2013. And supposedly Corey and, you know, Sean, Clown, however you want to call him, promised in a written agreement to return all of Joey's belonging in exchange for Joey's promise to release certain claims against them. So you can already assume that whole drama. But either way, this whole lawsuit was closed on the 17th of this month. So they're barely finding out and we're barely finding out. So yeah. Anywho, that was that little scandal. Let me end the music category with another scandal. So Foo Fighters canceled their show at Soundside Music Festival due to Dave Grohl's drama of having a kid outside of his marriage. I feel like the band just decided to cancel it because they fear that fans will start disrespecting Dave during the performance, that, you know, they just say, you know what, let's just pull out of this. See what I did there? And that wraps up the music category. Now let's go ahead and talk about gaming, starting with Warhammer 40k. Oh god, Lielers, now what are you gonna talk about? I'm gonna talk about Henry Cavill. Duh. So yes, Space Marine 2 is officially out and Henry Cavill is already playing it. Yeah. And he shared a photo of him playing the game. However, a lot of us couldn't help but to notice that he erased his gamer tag, and everybody wants to know what it is, including me. Like, come on, we just want to play with you. So far though, like, about the game itself, Space Marine 2 has received positive reviews, so maybe y'all need to check it out. Just saying. And potentially speaking, y'all might bump into Henry Cavill. Anywho, the other thing I also wanted to talk about is, remember how last week I said that PlayStation was releasing their 30th anniversary consoles? Well, they sold out in a matter of seconds. Even worse, and I kind of figured, that scalpers are already selling it for thousands of dollars. I saw the post on IGN and I quickly went to the comment section just to see what people are saying. And I really love this one comment by Syed Ahmed _29. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And I just said, you know what? Let's go ahead and feature it on this week's podcast because damn, homeboy really let out. Like, he put a list of 20 things to say to the scalpers. It says, number 1, may your controller disconnect at every crucial moment. Number 2, may your internet lag just as the final boss is about to fall. Number 3, may your save files get corrupted when you're 99% complete. Number 4, may every game update take forever to download. Number 5, may your power go out whenever you're in the middle of a raid. Number 6, may your console overheat when you're one win away from victory. Number 7, may your game always freeze right before an autosave. Number 8, may every loot box you open contain only duplicates. Number 9, may your in-game characters always glitch into walls. Number 10, may your headset battery die as soon as you enter a multiplayer match. Number 11, may every achievement you're about to unlock glitch and reset. Number 12, may your game disc always get stuck in the console. Number 13, may every online opponent always spam cheap tactics. Number 14, may your fast travel points always disappear from the map. Number 15, may your custom character never save their outfit properly. Number 16, may your controllers always have a stick drift, which I'm pretty sure Nintendo players can understand that. Number 17, may every co-op teammate you find always rage quit. Number 18, may your downloaded games always corrupt halfway through. Number 19, may your console's fans sound like a jet engine at all times, PS4 players. And lastly, number 20, may your digital library randomly reset to factory settings. I guess you can say nobody hates scalpers more than this guy, literally. But honestly, let's manifest that the scalpers can have a misery life, because what the fuck. And also, please do not buy overly priced PS5 consoles, especially that 30th anniversary one. Just don't. I get it, temptation is there, but it's not worth drowning into debt. Just go buy concert tickets instead. I also found another post from IGN that there were only 12,300 consoles that were made, and found the listings from the scalpers that were worth over $5,000. So F in the chat, boys. And then the last thing we need to talk about in the gaming's category is that another game has been delayed, and it happens to be Assassin's Creed Shadows. So Ubisoft pushed the game for 3 more months because it needed time to, quote, polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. So the new release date is on February 14, 2025. And ladies, now y'all know what to get your man for Valentine's Day. And that wraps up the gaming's category. Let's go ahead and talk about wrestling. Let's go ahead and kick off with AEW stuff. So Wrestling News Company posted on social media that it looks like AEW might be streaming their pay-per-views on Max, like HBO Max, beginning January 2025. I am praying and hoping this is true, and it will be a great move because I don't have $50 to spend on pay-per-views every time it comes out, only for me to watch it that one time. So yeah. And speaking of AEW, we already got a match for Wrestle Dream, and it will be Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley for the AEW Championship. I was so confused how Blackpool Combat storyline went downhill because I saw Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta siding with Jon Moxley rather than Bryan Danielson, and I'm like, what the fuck? I swear, these storylines make no sense. And then I need to talk about something else really quick. I saw a video of New Japan Pro Wrestling that Tanahashi was meeting with Kenny Omega, the hunk, the myth, the legend. Where have you been? And that whole video literally just ends with coming soon, and I'm like, Kenny's clear to wrestle? Oh my god, I miss my boy. Oh, but yeah, if that happens, we're gonna be talking about it. Now let's move to WWE and eventually make our way to that docuseries that I've been wanting to talk about. So WWE looks like they're teasing the possible return of the Viking Raiders. Like, we haven't seen them in a while, and whenever we saw the logo, that was the first thing I thought. I'm like, this has to be the Viking Raiders. But other people are misinterpreting the logo to Rey Fénix and Penta Cero Miedo because of the letters that were in the logo, which was PFR, like P for Penta, and then if you switch the R and the F, you know, Rey Fénix. But we actually saw Rey Fénix on AEW not so long ago, so I don't think that whole move to WWE is gonna happen anytime soon. So Anywho, the other thing I also wanted to talk about is Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. They are getting that match after all that I predicted last week, but it won't be on Bad Blood. Instead, it's going to be tomorrow on Raw. I'm not shitting you, the promo kind of had me cringing because it's giving us Godzilla vs. Kong, and what made matters even worse is that they morphed, Bronson and Braun's face to just only show Godzilla, and I'm like, really? This match is going to be called The Last Monster Standing, and I guess I also can't help but to notice, because we talked about last week's Cody and Roman Reigns' promo, it was more cinematic. Same thing with this promo. Like, is this the new era? Cinematic promos? I'm kind of, not feeling it, but it is what it is. The last thing before we get to the docuseries is that Cardi B made her WWE debut by announcing SummerSlam 2025, and she was also sporting an Eddie Guerrero show. Like, what? But it is bigger than we thought. Maybe, possibly. You'll see what I mean eventually. So SummerSlam will be stopping in New Jersey at the MetLife Stadium. And what day, you may ask? Well, mark your calendars for August 2nd and August 3rd. Just like WrestleMania. Oh my god. I will admit, part of me was like, oh my god, like SummerSlam is now moving to 2 nights, which can mean, oh my god, more talent, more storylines. But at the same time, after watching the docuseries, I'm like, they just want more money. Let's talk about this docuseries. So it is available on Netflix. It is 6 episodes. I want to say the very last one is over an hour long, but most of it's like right around that time frame. And after watching it, everything makes so much sense now. Like, why have we complained for so long? Because it's the reason of why WWE kept doing like shit that they've done that wasn't okay with us, but for them, they didn't give a shit. So you're gonna hear like my perspective. Again, like this whole docuseries can be interpreted in so many ways. It could be good, it can be bad, whatever. But this is my personal opinion. And I've been watching wrestling since I was like probably 4. Like whenever I was back in 1999. So like I can remember, like I've been watching wrestling for my whole life, so I can understand like some of the things that I've seen, and I question everything. So like once I watched the docuseries, I'm like, that makes sense, like that explains that. So here's the thing, we're gonna talk about Monday Night Wars. So that is something that's been happening like before I was born, so I had no knowledge of it, but they do cover, all of that. And basically Vince wanted to beat WCW, which was the competition at that time, and he wanted to beat them at any cost. So I do find it odd that history is repeating itself with AEW, but then again, AEW is starting to fall behind, just like WCW at the time. And the method that Vince did was that if a talent gets attention, no matter if it's good or bad, they will be handed the championship. It wasn't about athleticism, in other words, like employee of the month. But with them, Vince said, as long as you bring me money, you will have the belt. And that's exactly what he said to Rock. I'm like, oh, damn. And everything changed, of course, of what we're going through right now. Like Puppet H's method is looking like more, if you put in the work, the dedication, while also getting the fan reaction, you will get a championship belt. Like, look at Jey Uso. Finally, like this past Monday, I was like, hell yeah. I was so happy and whatnot. And if you think about it, we got 2 people champs. Like, we have Jey Uso with the Intercontinental Championship, and we have LA Knight with the US Championship. I mean, you can also consider Cody Rhodes, but that's a whole different story. But anywho, I'm getting sidetracked. But that was the method that Vince had for so many years. And I'm like, it makes sense why he always gave the belt to Brock Lesnar, for example, or even Roman Reigns. But Roman Reigns, like, he really did put the work. And, even if he was part-time, I think that's what also got the negative reaction, because we wanted a fighting champion. But if you think about it, look at Cody. Like, we see Cody every week, but we don't see him fighting. And we're starting to get bored of it. So I'm trying to understand the way how Papa H's method is right now with Cody. But at the same time, like with Vince, I feel like, yeah, there should have been change. And it makes so much sense why that whole company was in a toxic environment while Vince was running things in the back. Because the way how he explained it in the DocuSeries, it was either his way or not, you know, because what he wants, he gets. And he didn't care if people were, you know, dying, killing themselves, and all of that. And that's the next thing we gotta say. Owen Hart and Chris Benoit, they talk about it in this freaking series. I did get very emotional just hearing Bret Hart saying that he thought during the time when it happened, he thought Vince killed Owen Hart on purpose to get back at Bret for the whole Montreal screw job. So at the same time, I'm like, just that whole topic that I just mentioned right now, I still feel like personally, Bret and Vince's ego played a role in that whole mess. So no one was in the right for that whole thing. But at the same time, like, you know, with Owen falling, everybody was saying, like, in WWE, that was Owen's idea. Like, he wanted to be hanged, just like in other shows, and then him falling down to the ring, but safely. But because of that latch that he was in, it was so small, it couldn't hold him. It broke, he fell, he died. And everybody was like, they should not have continued the pay-per-view at the time. But Vince's defense was like, well, they were in a blackout. No one saw what was happening. All they saw was Owen getting wheeled out of the ring. And, you know, Vince was like, money, the show continues. And I'm like, really? Yeah, like that part was kind of shitty. But again, Vince's greed kept growing and growing. Then the whole thing with Chris Benoit, like, I feel a little bit conflicted on there because, yeah, we know what he did. And scientifically speaking, people were blaming it on CTE, which is, you know, damage in the brain and possibly road rage, who knows. But when I got to hear, like, Stone Cold's thoughts about it, he basically said the same thing. Like, he has used steroids and he has gotten concussions here and there, but at the end of the day, Stone Cold is still here and Chris Benoit is not. At the same time, I'm like, well, another thing is that Eddie Guerrero's passing impacted Chris Benoit and led him into severe depression. There is another theory I do have, but just so I can be respectful, I'm gonna keep it to myself, because if I were to say it, a lot of people are gonna think it, and after that we're just disrespecting Chris Benoit. And I get it, some people are like, no, he needs to be disrespected, but I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to spark something that may or may not be true, so I'm keeping that to myself. But I feel like there was so many reasons why Chris Benoit did what he did. And yes, it was shitty over the fact that he had to drag his wife and his child to it. And again, back to like what Paul Heyman said to one of the fans, you know, saying Chris Benoit, and he was like, no, you shut the fuck up. And continue to say, like, I don't care about CTE. You know, Chris had a choice that day. Nancy and Daniel did not. And, you know, for that, he's a piece of shit, yada, yada, yada. And again, it makes sense. And Vince, the same thing. He said it. That was Chris's choice. Like, he doesn't blame the whole road rage, steroids, substance abuse, whatever. That was all Chris is doing. It's not like WWE forced him into it. So I'm like, it makes sense. That's why I'm like, I'm conflicted with the whole thing. And because of Chris Benoit's passing, it started like this whole chain reaction of WWE, because that introduced the wellness plan. And I'm like, oh my god, even more sense. Because back then, you know, people would wrestle and continue to wrestle whether they were injured or not. You know, same thing, the steroids abuse, all of that. When the wellness plan got introduced, when the doctor says you can't wrestle or you're not clear to wrestle, that's it. You're out of in-ring competition. And a lot of wrestlers hate that, but it is what it is to prevent something like this to happen again. The other topic I want to discuss is the eras. So I did not know this. So I started watching wrestling during the Ruthless Aggression era, not the Attitude era. I'm like, thanks for clarifying that. But this goes back to the whole, like, does the past define our present? Like, I talked about this with Ronnie Radke and Falling in Reverse. And now we're going to talk about it with WWE, because if you think about it, the Attitude Era was so bad. Like, it was disrespectful. But that was the time it was back then. And if you think about it, you cannot paint Vince as the bad guy. Like, I'm not defending him, but you guys gotta see, like, the clear picture. You cannot paint Vince as the bad guy when in reality, society wanted all that shit to happen. Like, Vince gave fans what he wanted. You know that one disturbing scene where he made Trish Stratus bark like a dog? All of the fans cheered. That's the thing. I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, I don't know. Or I think it was Triple H. Like, is it shittier for Vince to make Trish do it? Or is it shittier for the fans who cheered on it? Because that's what Vince was feeding onto, was the fan reaction. And that was that. And following to the chain reaction, that's what led to the PG era. But it looks like we're going to get out of it once, you know, WWE goes into Netflix. And there is talk about bringing the Attitude Era back. But when I saw it, I'm like wondering if it's going to be filtered, because again, today's view or society would not allow some of the things that was shown back then. Now, I mentioned me getting emotional during Owen Hart, but I cried when they were talking about Shane. So I feel like Shane really did wanted Vince's approval, just like Vince wanted his approval for his dad, you know, Vincent Sr. And all Shane wanted was, you know, obviously take over the whole company, but Vince was like, over my dead body, like, you will have to kill me in order to run the company, or buy me out just like I bought out my dad. Like, that's what he told him. And Shane ended up leaving, and I'm like, oh, so that explains why he's been MIA for so long. And when Shane came back, obviously, you know, he went up against the Undertaker, and Undertaker won, you know, trying to keep that whole streak, when in reality it was done for. Oh, and they even explained the streak, but that was a whole different conversation for that. But when Shane lost, he went backstage, and, you know, Shane was talking during the interview that, you know, he got a hug, and he was really happy about it. But when you see the video, I'm gonna cry already. Shane was telling his dad, like, you know, that's all I wanted was your acceptance, this, and that. And you see Vince crying, and you see it on camera. And I was like bawling my eyes out, just like how I am right now. And I was like, damn. Talk about a toxic dad and son relationship. But hey, you know, that was that. And speaking of Shane, this is fucking weird that we see the DocuSeries happening, and then all of a sudden I see on social media, because I follow the Young Bucks on social media, and they posted a picture with Shane in the middle, and I was like, what is going on? And on the captions, I don't know if it was Matt or Nick Jackson, they put, quote, interesting flight today. And I'm like, what is Shane trying to cook? Like, what is this? Maybe the forbidden door of AEW collaborating with WWE? All I'm saying, because like how Vince saw it, is never make business with the competition. I think that's everywhere. But I'm like, forbidden door, AEW said, you know what, we're gonna collaborate with all of these other pro wrestling companies. And maybe WWE is like, you know what, let us be part of that. I swear to God, we will be living in the most amazing wrestling eras ever. But anywho, the other thing is that as you get closer to the end of the docuseries, we actually get an explanation of what happened when Vince was resigning and then coming back and then retiring after. So like he didn't want to let go of WWE. Like he still wanted to run things, you know, he still wanted to have his final say. Like again, the fucking ego, the greed and all of that. But at the end of the day, because of that whole lawsuit that's going on with Janelle Grant, Vince probably said, you know what, this is it, I'm not gonna fight anymore, I'm done. And plus he's old, he's probably gonna die eventually, but he's under watch because he is under investigation. So who knows if we'll finally hear the truth from this. And you know, once I finished this whole thing, I was like, what in the succession is this? Because no one in the McMahon family is running WWE. Like Endeavor, that's the company's name. Endeavor is a media and talent agency, is run by their CEO Ari Emanuel, and then Nick Khan is the president of WWE, and then, you know, Papa H, who's the chief content officer. So that's it. As for Vince McMahon, like he sold all of his stocks, meaning he doesn't own a single penny of WWE. He doesn't have a final say anymore. Even if he were, he can't. And for me, it's crazy to hear that like Hulk Hogan or Tony Atlas say that WWE would be doomed if Vince were to leave. And trust me, I laugh really hard because of everything that's been going on with WWE now. If you follow like this whole podcast, like I think I remember when we talked about Vince leaving, and then now that we said WWE is finally good again, like we're praising Papa H and all of that, because it's now entertaining. That's why I'm like, ever since WWE has been going up. And that's why I'm like, when I see SummerSlam, I'm always thinking about that. Like, okay, is it because they still want more money? I don't know. At the end of the day, thank you, Papa H, for saving the damn company. Because sweet Jesus, I was already fed up with the whole Vince reign. And yeah, that's my thing. Do I, you know, support everything that Vince has done for the company over the past years? No. But at the same time, I'm not a businesswoman. I will never understand that because I don't run a company. And again, like if he wants to say like, oh, he was successful, you know, WWE is now a $1 billion company, sure, you know, he achieved it, because at the end of the day, society is as sick as he is. I mean, I watched it for the same entertainment. I don't care if it's fake, whatever you guys call it, because at the end of the day, it's sports entertainment. You know, it's like our soap opera. I'm a female, I need to have my soap operas, and that's why I tune in every Monday, every Friday, and eventually, you know, every Tuesday and maybe Wednesday just to watch wrestling. It's so entertaining, and you know, I support the wrestlers, and that's what I mean. And I've said it before in so many previous episodes. Support the wrestlers. Don't support just the company. Support the wrestlers because it's their job. They still need to make ends meet. So that's all I gotta say about that docuseries. Definitely go check it out. Again, if you are a wrestling fan or just for fun, definitely go check it out. It's on Netflix. And oh my god, I was not expecting to go over an hour. But that wraps up this week's episode. As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the blog at It's Lielers. And also do not forget to follow me on TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. Next week, we're definitely going to be talking about that whole Corey Taylor and Clown on Hot Ones and whatever you may have missed in pop culture. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will talk to you guys on the next one.